Okay, so how to learn Albanian from zero. Hello everyone and welcome to Albanian Mornings with Eliza. Today I'm going to teach you how to learn Albanian from zero. So how to make this impossible language become possible and even easy if you actually put some effort into it. So I try to structure everything and I will give you a step-by-step guide to follow. Of course, it's different for everyone, but I will try to make it as easy and as understandable as possible. So yeah, grab a pen, a notebook, maybe a coffee, and get ready to study. Okay, first things first. Find your connection, not your goals. When I say this, everyone is surprised, but today I'm going to explain to you how it works. So everyone is telling, write down your goals, put a deadline to yourself. So in 3 months, I need to know Albanian because these like different reasons, but stop doing this, okay? This is taking you nowhere and you are never going to learn Albanian if you start with this idea in your mind. So what you have to do instead is find your connection. And what is the connection? It's the feeling that the language gives you when you want to study, like when you want to learn it. So it can be anything. Maybe you just want to be part of the Albanian community because you see, like, you are maybe abroad somewhere and you see how the Albanian community is so patriotic, like we are so patriotic, it's so connected to each other, and you just like the idea of knowing the language to actually be part of their conversation. So like participate to what they are saying or to what they are talking about. Maybe you are Albanian and you want to connect to your roots. Maybe you have a partner that is Albanian. I mean, maybe you just want to travel, okay? Maybe you are just interested into the languages, so Albanian is the next language you want to learn. So first, find your connection. So how does Albanian language makes you feel? And me, I am Albanian, so I did this with other languages, and honestly, it works perfectly because it gives you a reason to keep going even when things get complicated. You take a notebook, a piece of paper, something, and you write down like 1, 2, 3, 4, as many reasons as you want, but like put down how do you feel, like what's your why for learning Albanian. So I want to feel part of the community. I feel happy to actually add another language to the languages that I already know. Not everyone knows Albanian, so I feel actually excited to know it. So it can be any reason, okay? So I'm not going to do it for you. You have to think, you have to sit down. It takes you 5 minutes and deeply think, what do you have in your heart that wants to make you learn Albanian, okay? So write down. Second important thing is going to be also the longest one. So if you have a notebook, take it right now and start to take notes. I'm going to read mine. Okay, so what we have to do at this point is finding your learning method. So what is important is to take a notebook, like mine right here. So I suggest take a notebook only for the Albanian language. So not like the notebook that you are using for other 3 languages, or maybe like a notebook that you just put random notes during the day, your to-do list or stuff, your gratitude notebook. So no, take a new notebook that is going to have written on top Albanian language, okay? So this is going to be your reference every time you need to repeat or you need to study or you need to write down anything connected to the Albanian language. And this is very important, like psychologically is very important because it helps your brain to see at something only as the Albanian moment. So once you see this notebook, you will be like, okay, now it's my time to learn Albanian. So take a notebook. You can even take 2 if you want. So I suggest one for grammar and all the explanation, and the other one for the vocabulary that you can keep, maybe like a small notebook that you can keep every day wherever you go. Or like if you are speaking to Albanians and you are like listening to a different word and you want to write it down, the small notebook can be very useful. But otherwise, you can just separate this one. I already did at a point. You can just separate this one into 2 different parts where you write all the words and all the stuff. The second important thing is actually get also a textbook. So you can search this online. It's very easy to find it. There are actually different versions for free online, and I can put the link down here if you are interested, so just let me know. But this book is called the one that I personally use, and I think it's very good. So, I mean, this is not an ad or anything. It's just actually my honest opinion. I think that discovering Albanian, the first level, is very, very good. They have the textbook and the workbook that you can download online for free. So if you prefer to order the physical one, you can. You find it on Amazon everywhere. but I would suggest like you don't even have to spend money. You can just use the online version. And why do you need a textbook? Okay, so the textbook is going to be your roadmap. So it's going to be your reference when you want to actually study something new, because going on the internet is going to give you so much information, you will become overwhelmed. Going on ChatGPT, he's going to give you like, okay, he can give you structure, but sometimes he makes mistake when it comes to the Albanian language, because of course it's not like a super famous language, and he's taking information from the internet, and not everything is correct on the internet. Okay, so I would suggest take this textbook just to have an idea like what are the subjects that you have to work with. This book is very nice. It takes you from the beginning, so like the first subjects that you have to study, until actually on a very advanced level. So let's say that the first thing that you have to study is the alphabet. Start from the alphabet. Okay, don't skip it like you can do for some other languages. When it comes to the Albanian language, the alphabet is very important. Then you will do the subject pronouns, the verb to be and have, professions, nationalities, countries, languages. You will see some basic verbs of the first group in the present, in the past, in the future. So eventually you will have a list of all the subjects that you have to work with if you want to learn Albanian. Then, third thing to do is, once you have the textbook, learn the basics. So everything I told you before, okay, alphabet, verb to be and have, subject pronouns, blah, 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 like everything, write it down, at least like the first level subjects, the A1, A2. I can still write them down, or actually I will write them down. I'll write them down after, just so you have them. So once you learn the alphabet, you will see that you will be able to learn how to read and how to write things down. So I'm going to tell you an Albanian word, and you will be able to write it down without any problem. I know. It sounds weird, because let's say that when everyone starts learning Albanian, it's like, oh, it's kind of very weird, it's a super complicated language, but actually to write down and to read, it's not that hard, okay? It has complicated stuff, but after, not at the beginning. So start from the alphabet, and then learn by heart or by logic also the other subjects. What's the next step? And I put it here in big. Listen before you learn. Exactly. So before starting anything else, you have to listen to the Albanian language. You have to get used to the sound, you have to get used to the rhythm, you have to get used to the language before actually learning it. And I know now you will say, yeah, but I will not get any words, so why should I listen to the language? I will just get bored, it will just be complicated, and I will not be able to understand anything or to actually memorize anything. But, suspense, actually you will. So listening to the Albanian, it's like little kids, when you start to, before speaking, when you are a baby, you start to listen to what your parents tell you. This is why a lot of kids are born, they are not born, but by 1 or 2 years old, they are actually able to speak 2 different languages, because you have to listen first to get used to the language, and then it's going to be easier for you to say words, to create phrases, because you are used to the sound of the language. It's like the passive learning thing. And honestly, I had this when I first started to learn Italian, because half of my family used to live in Italy before I moved to Italy, so I would listen to them all the time speaking in Italian. I would not understand anything. I was so bored during our family dinners or lunch. I was so bored because everyone was speaking Italian and I could not understand it. But when eventually I moved to Italy, I started to actually realize that it helped me a lot, because I was able to understand the language without ever studying it. And it's the same for you. So start to listen to the Albanian language. It can be 5 minutes every day, okay? Listen to the news, listen to podcasts, listen to songs. This is very nice. So if you like Albanian music, learn songs by heart. You don't get any word, it's okay. Learn how to kind of recognize when it's Albanian and when there is another language. So you hear people outside speaking and you are like, oh, they are speaking Albanian. I don't get any word, but I know they are speaking Albanian. So this is a goal. Next, make it a habit. So what is a habit? Habit is an action that you do automatically without thinking of it. And how do you create a habit? Like, what are the main things that you need to have to actually say that, okay, this is a habit for me? First thing, the action has to take place in the same moment, in the same day, and maybe attached to another habit. If you learn Albanian once per week, sometimes it's Tuesday, 2 hours. Sometimes it's Thursday, 1 hour. Sometimes it's Friday, 4 hours. Like a lot, like very intense. But you still do it like every week, once or twice per week, or even if you do it like 3 times per week. But you do it in different hours every week. You are not going to create a habit. So once the language actually starts to become complicated, or you start to lose the motivation you had at the beginning, you will stop learning Albanian. because this is how it works. You need to do it, for example, every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday at the same time, at the same moment of the day. So like, for example, in the morning after you eat breakfast, you practice Albanian for 30 minutes. Another suggestion can also be attach it to another habit. So for example, I don't know, every morning you eat breakfast, you brush your teeth, and then you have 10 minutes free before, I don't know, going for work, school, or wherever you have to go. In these 10 minutes that you have, that maybe usually you scroll on TikTok or on Instagram, you are like, okay, 10 minutes at this time, every day I'm going to practice Albanian. It doesn't have to be 1 hour every day or like 5 hours per week. It can just be 10 minutes every day for weeks in the same exact time. So you touch it to another habit. Like, for example, after eating breakfast, that it's something that you do maybe every morning, you are going to learn Albanian for 10 minutes. So automatically for your brain, after like a while that you are doing it, you will start to think of learning Albanian. Like, you will go by yourself without thinking, sitting down, and you will take the notebook and start to study Albanian after breakfast. Why? Because you've been doing the same thing, like you've been doing it after breakfast for the last weeks. So your brain now got used to it. So this is a habit. So now, how do you actually, once you know the basics, once you did everything that we said before, how do you actually make the Albanian language get stuck in your mind? So you have two different forms of learning. You have inputs and outputs. So when it comes to inputs, it's mainly, let's say, reading and listening, and when it comes to outputs, it's speaking and writing. So sometimes when you have more inputs than outputs, you will be able to understand the language very well, but you are not able to speak. Like, for example, something can sound very good in your mind and you are like, oh yeah, I understand it, I can answer, but when you try to put it into words, it just doesn't come. Like, you can just not speak, or you speak and you make mistakes and people don't understand you, and then your confidence drops. This is very normal. Like, let's say that 80% of people learning a language have this. I had this with the last language I learned, that was French. I thought it was very good, but actually I wasn't. So I could understand it very well. In my mind, I had like all the phrases that I'd repeat to myself before saying it to someone. And then when I was saying it out loud, it sounds terribly bad. And because of my confidence, no one could understand me. This is why it's very important to mix both of them. So like to have a balance once you know the basics, because the things are going to get more complicated, so you need to try and have both inputs and outputs. So I put here some ideas on what you can actually use for all of them. So it's different for everyone, but I will just give you the basics that can be very useful for you. So for reading, I would suggest to get a kid's book. It can be an online book, a physical book, like a very small book with images maybe. Now, you will probably not understand it anyway, but it's nice to read out loud. The second thing is writing. I would suggest journal. So do like 2 or 3 phrases. Every night before sleeping in your bed, you take the Albanian notebook and you write down your day. So you don't have to write down what you did. You can just write down how you feel. So today was a good day. I felt very happy, or the opposite. Or you can just write down 3 things you are grateful for in Albanian. So today I am grateful for, and then you write it down. You can do this in the evening or also in the morning, but to make it a habit and do it every day, try to connect it to another habit. And then the last part, speaking. How does it work? So you can either read out loud a book, so you are reading, but in the same time you are speaking. So you are actually like opening your mouth to say something in Albanian, even if it's not like your own personal opinion. Now, what I do suggest is speak to yourself. Speak in front of the mirror. It's good if you speak to yourself, so you have no pressure, you have no one like making you actually rush all the time, and you don't care if you do mistakes, because you are speaking to yourself. So say it half in English, half in Albanian. You don't have to say everything in Albanian. And when you are creating like a conversation in your head and you are speaking to yourself, you are actually using words that you use every day. So at that point, you are like saying something and you are like, okay, but how do I say this word in Albanian? And you write it down in your small notebook. And this word, then you translate it. And next time that you are going to speak to yourself and you are going to use that word for sure, you are going to be able to say it in Albanian. So it takes time, it's slowly, but 5 to 15 minutes per day, it's honestly enough. You can do it longer, of course, if you have more time, if you feel more motivated. More time you put into it, more you are going to learn. But in the same time, it's very important to be consistent. This is really going to give you big results. So this was, let's say, the technical part, like your learning method, how to study, what to do. So I hope you took notes and you can put this into practice. Now, it's very important to actually make Albanian fun. So make it fun, okay? Like, enjoy the process. Like, listen to Albanian music. Don't do things that actually make you stressed out. Like, you should not be like, oh, I have to learn Albanian today. That's so annoying. No, you should be actually like, oh, it's just 5 minutes. Who cares? I'm going to study anyway. And these 5 minutes every day, you will see that after like 1, 2, 3 weeks, 1 month, you will be like, oh, you know, I know this word. I get this. And you will start to actually understand better. And you will start to actually speak more. And you will start to be more confident. And once you are a little bit, like once you get 1% more confident, you will feel motivated again to study more. So when you lose the motivation, your connection is going to bring you back, what we talked about at the beginning, so like your way of feeling. So even if I don't want to study it, even if I have no motivation, I will still study it because I care about learning it. And at that point, you get some results. And the result is going to boost your motivation, like your confidence. You will be super motivated and you will want to learn more. And then you will see more results. And at that point, it will just like be a circle going always up and never down. Don't stress out. Don't put yourself a deadline. I hate when people do this. Like, don't be like, I need to learn Albanian in 4 months because in 4 months I have to go in Albania, so I have to speak to everyone in Albanian. Now, you also have to understand something else, that even Albanians sometimes don't speak Albanian perfectly. What do I mean? Okay, so we study Albanian at school. There are a lot of people that speak a very amazing, perfect Albanian, but normally in everyday conversations, we make mistakes. We make a lot of mistakes. And mainly in Albania, there are a lot of people who write it not correctly, who pronounce things not correctly. There are different dialects everywhere. Like, it's not only the difference between Geg and Tosk, but there are also mini dialects inside the dialects. So at that point, if you do mistakes, it's okay. Maybe some people are going to notice, other maybe will not. The point is being able to have conversations. So let's say that we Albanians are used to adapting to other languages, to other cultures. So seeing that someone is actually making some effort to speak our language and to adapt to our culture is going to actually make us very, very happy. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please subscribe if you liked it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.